Well, let's now talk about groups. So grouping in SSIS. So this is going to be a real short video because there's not a whole lot to doing a group here. You look over on the left hand side and you see the three containers that we have here. You don't see a group. However, there is a group available inside of the designer in the control flow window. You just have to know what it is and what it means. So I've got my for each loop container here, and I don't know, let's say that I had a couple of annotations here. So I want to right click and just put in, I'm sorry, this for each loop will do X, Y, and Z. Okay, so it's pretty nice to have an annotation with your for each because you can't always put in the name exactly what everything will do, right? So you're going to have maybe even a bulleted list down here to where you, let me expand that a little bit there. A, B. And in case you didn't watch the previous videos on how to do this, you have to hit the control key and then you can go to the next line. Okay, so there you go. And then you can set your fonts and do whatever you want to, like trebuchet purple. Right? Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So there we have a nice little annotation. And what if I want, the problem with this is that there is no anchor with the for loop here. These are independent objects. So what I can do is I can grab both of them and I can choose to group these together. And all it does is wrap a container that allows me to now move them as a single group. So I would really name this my for each loop does X, Y, Z. And then I might even minimize it. So your group really for me is strictly grouping annotations or very simple tasks. And I say very simple because watch, if I have multiple other items here, I don't get, notice when I click that, I don't get my little green arrow. You see how down here I get the connector? I don't get that. So when I click on the group, that's not what a group does. A group is kind of like linking things together so that you can move them, so that you can go up here and format them and auto lay them out together. But it doesn't have anything to do with defining what comes first or second. Notice when I try to drag it onto the group, I get an error message that it cannot create a connector to an executable of a group. So that's not what it's for. Now I can expand the group and I can do this. You see, I can go to the individual tasks within a group just like that. That's fine. And when I collapse it, it does show that I'm going to the group. It looks like it's making the group an executable, but in fact, it's actually, when we expand it, going to then write it directly to that particular task. But my big use for the group here is to tie the annotations that I want to a specific task. It's still a container, because now I can collapse it, I can move it all around, but it's just not shown over here in the control flow. Still pretty simple though, I think, to work with. And for your larger packages, you're going to have probably plenty of opportunity to group multiple annotations together. So that's it. Nothing really too fancy about the group. I'll see you in the next video, and we'll talk a little more detail about adding pop-ups and then the precedence constraints.